Maryse Godet Copans, thank you for being here on Unbroken. Welcome.
Oh, thank you, Alexandra. It's a pleasure.
It's so nice to see you again.
Yeah.
Why don't you take us back to the beginning and tell us about how you came across the three principles?
Yes. I'm going to condense 6 years, or what I mean, all the time before. I'm going to make it very, very, very short. So basically, for me, my history is with anxiety. So it started in 2003, physical symptoms, and then the beginning of a long, long search for a fix, which, every little thing helped along the way. I tried many, many things, and it led me one day to hear Michael Neal, because I think at the time I subscribed to Hay House. I can't remember why, but I subscribed to Hay House, and I listened to a short something he had, I think on Facebook. I can't even remember precisely, but saying we live in the feeling of our thinking. Those were his words. We live in the feeling of our thinking. And I was like, heck no. But he got my attention and I got curious about that. So I started listening to him and I was like, well, it's interesting. But to be really honest, the terms he used, his vocabulary around, the three principle and mind, consciousness, and thought, I was not really comfortable with. So it stayed sort of on the back burner until, because I was listening to him, something from Nicola Bird appeared regarding anxiety. She was in the process then to be, having been, I think, one of Michael's apprentices. She was in the process of launching A Little Peace of Mind, her anxiety targeted program. And I thought, what do I have to lose at this point? This was 2017, and I had been at it with anxiety since 2003. I really had nothing to lose. So I listened to her, and it really resonated. For the first time in my life, I had the feeling this woman knows what she's talking about. She's been through panic attacks. She's experienced the whole thing. I'm going to listen some more. So I signed up for her program, and it just snowballed. I mean, the progress I made, the insights I had, everything was just fabulous, really. So in this big wave, I trained with Michael Neal. I did Super Coach Academy. And then in 2020, COVID hit. And you know what? That first year was totally fine. I didn't mind the lockdown, nothing. I was still doing so well. And then in 2021, I'm not sure why, I'm not sure it matters. It all came back. It all came back. So dizziness, incredible electricity in my body most of the time, panic attacks at night, during the day, whatever. And I was like, what's happened? Nothing helps. What the heck is going on? I mean, I was just so lost, to be honest with you, so lost. And I just did my best, for a few months. I think at the time, the only thing that I could see clearly, and I think that it somehow, not that it saved me because I didn't need saving, but it was really like a lifeline. Something inside me remembered, this is temporary. It will pass. So when I looked at everything I had learned from Michael, Nicola, and everybody else, the only thing that was still helpful in what I was experiencing at the time was, this is temporary. And I knew that. It was not a belief, I just knew it. I knew that it would change at some point, but I didn't know when, I didn't know how. It felt horrible. I went through a whole, oh gosh, so many medical tests every direction to make sure, because I had even new symptoms, stomach upset and stuff like that. So it was a whole medical saga, which was not helping the anxiety.
Right.
But everything just came back normal and everything else. And then the anxiety sort of calmed down, but I found myself in a big dark cloud, really sad, really depressed, really dragging my feet for the best part of 22. And somehow, by some miracle that allows me to look at what actually happened, what I was told turned out to be true. And I moved through, I moved through it. I came out on the other side. Again, not sure how it started, not sure how it ended, but it's ended because it's been a few months now, and I feel I feel solid. I feel much better at all levels. And so now it's just looking back at, what happened. And again, not to prevent it from happening again, but more being curious as to what can I see about this that would help me get more grounded and be more okay should it ever happen again. So that's where I'm at today.
Yeah. Oh, so much stuff in there that I would love to unpack. And
Okay.
and yeah, just so many interesting things that you said. So I think the first thing I want to ask is, you mentioned that it started sort of in 2021. Do you feel like there was any kind of COVID connection, or no at all? Yeah, I don't mean
Yes,
in terms of having the virus. I just mean in terms of anxiety.
anxiety, yes. I think it was looking back again, it's my best guess. I don't
Hmm.
know. I think it was a build-up of a lot of dark stories about, some family issues that we were having, about COVID, about the vaccine. I had a lot of stories around all that. And basically, I really think my body went, enough. It's enough.
Mm.
I'm going to make you feel all that. And I
Hmm.
felt it. But for the life of me, I had no ideas how to change that. So again, this knowing that I didn't need to, that somehow it would change for me at some point, really helped. Because 5, 10 years ago, it would not have been like that. I would have been, I can't live like this anymore. Something needs to change. I need to find the next person to listen to, blah, blah, blah. And here it was more, I felt defeated in a way because I thought that I had found the answer. Ah, yes. And it was very humbling to realize that even for myself, I had not found the answer, that stuff like this could still happen.
Hmm.
But yes, it was definitely a build-up of all that stuff. Yeah. I think,
Oh,
well, definitely, I don't know. As I said, it's my best guess.
right. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So there's that expression in the principles that we're always feeling our thinking. And so our body lets us know the quality of the thinking that's
Yeah.
going on in our minds. Do
Yeah.
you feel like this confirmed that expression to you?
Yes. And again, it's not yes and no, in the sense that definitely I'm feeling something that's happening at the thought level, but it's not necessarily thinking I'm aware of.
Hmm.
It's more what is going on in my mind based on the past, on the conclusions that my brain is drawing. And so this is what we need to think about now, because that will keep us safer and all that sense, all that stuff. But yes, I definitely see deeper today that my experience is thought created, but thought in a broad sense. So that I don't get trapped into thinking that I need to change a belief, or that I need to change the story that's going on in my head that day or that minute or that moment. It's more a question, oh, that's where it's coming from. Okay, no big deal.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to change.
Right.
And but yes, definitely the experience is thought created. Yeah. for me, it looks really true.
Okay. Yes. Yeah. Good to hear that. And such an important point, I think, about how we're aware of some of the thought that's going through our heads. You know, we can hear that voice in our head that sounds like us. And then there does seem to be another level or layer of thought that we don't necessarily hear, but it's there nonetheless. Would you agree with that?
Yes, and to go back to what you said in your previous question, that's what the body lets us know.
Yes.
The body lets us know that something is going on.
Right.
And it's funny because in the 3P world, especially at the beginning, I heard a lot the expression, the feeling basically lets us know we're off track. We're off track. And I don't think it's an off track thing or on track thing. It's not a good or bad thing. It's just happening.
Mm-hmm.
And the feeling is uncomfortable because there's an uncomfortable something going on in the background. And again, sometimes it makes sense to look at it closer and maybe adjust my behavior or whatever. And sometimes it doesn't. It really depends.
Mm-hmm.
But to
Yeah.
answer your question, yes, I agree. I think there's a lot of stuff that we're not aware of. The brain is busy. And it's funny because I was talking to a friend of mine recently, and you know how we were told to sleep on it, right? Or I'm a big jigsaw puzzle fan. So I move away from a puzzle and then I come back and I'll find the piece that I was looking for. But it's not random, my brain continues working on it when I'm not aware. So
Mm.
that's what is going on. The brain continues, the mental activity continues even when we're not aware of it. And then at some point we feel it. So for me, that's more thought that way rather than real thinking,
Yes.
I mean,
Yeah. No, that's such a beautiful description of the distinction. And you're so
mm,
right. And in fact, just last night, I had, this is kind of goofy. I had written this number down. I was adding up a bunch of stuff and walked away thinking it was fine. In the middle of the night, I woke up with the realization that I had done a calculation wrong in this list of numbers. It wasn't on my conscious mind at all. Like I thought I had done the thing correctly. And yet my
mm.
brain kept working on it, obviously, and then let me know, oh, there's a mistake there. And those are just great
Wonderful.
examples of, this activity that's going
Yeah.
on. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
a fabulous story because, again, we hear a lot about, fresh thought and this and that, but it's not woo woo. Fresh thought is not woo woo. It's really how the brain works.
Mhm.
So there's something going on. It works on it. And then you wake up in the middle of the night or the next day I go and I place the piece because it happens and I don't have to get involved in that process. So I think that's another thing that I've seen over the last year or so is how little involved I need to be to move through life, to move through challenges or anything really.
Mhm.
It's it's sort of taken care of
Yeah.
for me. I mean, I'm there obviously, right? Because if there's a piece to place on the puzzle, it's not gonna happen without my hand doing it, obviously. But it's just so less of of little me involved in my life these days. That's a consequence of all the last few years, I think.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, yeah. And one of the things too that I thought was really interesting that you said was that when you discovered the principles and began to learn about them, that you thought you had found the answer, right? And I'll tell you what I heard from that, which was that you would be symptom free. Is that how you would express that?
I don't know if it was completely to be symptom free, but I would be okay. Well, actually, I think I had set a level of symptoms that I would be all right with.
Okay,
And
okay.
everything that yeah, talk about stories, right? So everything that I experienced was sort of measured to that, and it measured really well. So I thought, after 14, 15, 16 years of seeking, this is it.
Mm-hmm.
This is it. This finally works. Like my family, they couldn't believe the transformation. I mean, I would be afraid of doing everything. And then I signed up for Super Coach Academy Europe. So, I mean, I live in New York and I traveled to Athens and Prague and London. And and I were like, what? And then all that's, it seemed as if it was taken away from me. So more than an answer, I think I found at the time what I needed to find to improve, to I guess to get some grounding again in my life.
Mm-hmm.
And somehow, maybe, I don't know, that grounding wasn't solid enough. So
Mm.
life, as life is known to do, just shook things up a little for me.
Mm-hmm.
And it's interesting because at the time I'm having a bad day, and a friend of mine said, Maryse, remember when you go through phases like this. She had no idea that it was a long phase. I was hiding it very well, but when you go through something like that, it means you're going to see something new. You're going to see something new at some point. And it was a great reminder that day, because it got my interest going again. I was like, oh, maybe that's true. What more could I see around this? And that sort of started, I got out of my victim mode again,
Mm-hmm.
and got curious about what was going on. And that was slowly and the way out. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I guess what it says to me too, you having that experience, is that you've gone even deeper. This is sort of another way to say what your friend says. Yeah, you're going to see something more. And
Yeah.
to me, you sharing your story has just shown me the wisdom and the perfection of our design, really. And it sounds like you see that as well. Would you say that's true?
Okay, let's see. The perfection of the design. I don't know, honestly. To me, it looks as if life wants to live.
Mm,
Life wants to experience life. So if that's perfection, that's perfection. I don't know. Um, and why we get to see more or don't see, because some people won't, and
mm-hmm,
I have no idea. For me, that's all the mystery of life. That's what I'm saying. When I don't have answers, I thought I had, in the sense that, oh, but of course this is happening because mind, consciousness, thought, and blah 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 blah. And now it's like, I really don't know. And to be honest with you, I don't really care. It's just like, it's more a moment by moment thing. So I think we are designed to live. We are designed to experience everything. So in that sense, is the design perfect? Yes, because there's no question in my mind, after the last 2 years, we are resilient. We're a resilient bunch. There's no question. And when we see that, it helps us. But why some people see it and don't see it, I don't know. So, and for me, it still looks as if some people can go through a lifetime without seeing that. So are we perfectly designed? I have no idea. but but it looks true that we are deeply resilient, and that life wants to experience everything. That's
mm-hmm,
something else that I saw, is like, most of us come into the three principle conversation because we are looking for answers, and we are looking for a way to live better, to change our feelings, circumstances, whatever, or to escape even those circumstances, feelings, or whatever. And what I've seen around that is just that it's not so much about that, the deepening. The deepening is about seeing how normal and safe experiencing all of life is. So do I wish, or do I hope I never go through a phase like I've went through again? Yes. Do I know that it's not going to happen because I know the three principles? No. Do I know that it's probably going to be a little easier to navigate because of what I've seen and felt? Yes. But there's no guarantee. And underneath all that, I know I'll be able to experience it. That's it. You know, I had a client once tell me that if life, I love that thing, I never forgot it. He said to me, if life sees fit to present me with something, it means I'm fit to experience it.
Oh,
Yes.
wow. Yeah.
And I love that. And why? Why are we fit to experience life? Because we're designed by life. We are life itself. I mean, there's just no way we're not. So it makes complete sense to me today that, of course, I'm able to experience everything because there's nothing out of this bubble of life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's it. It's, you know, I always say, I like to say, we didn't invent the baby. We didn't invent a human being, right? We
Yep.
didn't. So there's more ease with all that for me now because it feels normal and safe, let's say,
Mm-hmm.
whatever comes.
Yeah. Yeah. Say that again, what your client said.
So if life sees fit to present me with an experience, it means I'm fit to experience it.
Wow. Yeah.
That wasn't me. That wasn't me. That was him.
Yeah.
And it was one of those moments you love, you know, when you talk with someone and it's just, yeah. And then, yeah.
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 I think there
So
was
beautiful.
yes, there was a deeper realization for me around that, around this, you know, when you have anxiety, basically the core thing is that you don't feel safe being alive.
Mm-hmm.
You just don't feel safe being alive. And then
Mm-hmm.
some people don't feel safe around health, around food, around this, around that. But the core thing is that you don't feel safe. So to be able to develop through seeing how resilient you are or how life works and all that stuff, develop this sense of inner safety, being alive regardless of what you have to move through. It's sort of important when you suffer from anxiety.
Mm-hmm.
Because it doesn't mean that you're not anxious anymore, but it means that you're not afraid of being anxious.
Right.
So
Yeah.
makes a big difference.
Yes, a huge difference. Yeah, yeah, exactly. Nicola Bird used to have this phrase about having a pink, fluffy life. And I loved it when I first heard her say that, and how we're all looking for that, something that's easy and trauma-free and joyful and
Yeah.
delightful all the time. And the way that I phrase that, which is a little more pointed, is that there's no cure for life. There's no cure for the experiences that we're going to have. And so I love that you're pointing to the resilience that we all have to deal with really anything that comes up. Yeah, I love that.
Yeah. Yeah. We really, really, really do.
Yeah.
And we come out on the other side because that's just a given also.
Yes. Yep. Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so you noticed at some point then a reduction in those symptoms that you were having, the panic attacks in the night and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
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 And you obviously kept exploring as all that was going on. Yeah. Yeah. And was there
Yeah.
any, sorry, go ahead.
No, no, no. Ask the question, because I think I was going to answer the question that you're about to ask.
Yeah. Well, I guess I'll give a little background just for our listeners.
Okay.
I was in a cult for 10 years in the 1990s. And one of the unspoken rules anytime you're in a cult is, don't question the premise. Don't question the kind of the spoken rules, but also the unspoken rules in the organization or the group. And so what I want to ask you is, did you find yourself questioning the principles, and were you comfortable doing that as well?
I've always been comfortable questioning everything. So
Okay, good.
number one, so that's just not a problem for me. I have a deep aversion to boxes and structures and everything, which, like I said at the beginning, was the structure of the three principles as a teaching was, I was never comfortable with it. So I very rarely use the word mind, consciousness, thought sometimes, as I did today, but it's very rare. I'd rather go through what I've seen. So to answer your question, did I question what I had seen rather than question the structure of the principles? Did I question what I had seen? Oh, yes. Yes, because if I had really seen something that was true, how come I was feeling so bad again?
Yeah.
So I went there full speed. But in a way, it was a good thing, because I really believe, when we talked about answers and stuff, every human being, even though we're all come from the same life source, every human being has to find their own grounding, their own answer, their own way. Every human being has to find their own way. So it helped me, this phase, really look for my own way again, which of course is the paradox, is the way for everyone. But I don't know if you remember, but Michael Neal, I don't know if you've ever heard him say that people are looking for the bathroom, and when we have the three principles, we just know the way to the bathroom, so we can just help them see the way for the bathroom. And that's where I was. And today I don't see it like this anymore. I'm like, yes, everybody's looking for the bathroom. I'm looking for the bathroom. Everybody is, right? My way to the bathroom is not yours. So for me to show you my way is not really going to help you very much. But I can guarantee you that the bathroom exists. I can keep reminding you that it's there when you think you'll never get there. And I can be with you as you look for your way. And that's that. So it's a very different space to be in. It's more of a space of, yeah, it's like, I don't know really. I know that there's a way, but is it the three principles? Is it something else for that person? I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
All we can do is explore together. And that's where I'm finding myself, and it counts for me too. So whenever I question something, it's not like, the three principles, it didn't work, what else can I find, and all that. It's like, no, having seen and felt what I've seen and felt, what else can I see about this? And let's explore. And there's always something more to discover. I mean, for me, the big gift of the last 6 months has been this exploration of self-kindness and self-compassion. I was well versed into it, but not really. I didn't really need it in my own life. until recently. And now it's like, oh, it's really nice. But that's for me in this moment. So, and again, it's not 3P, right? It's like self-kindness. I mean, again, I like to say that everything is 3P, because the three principles just explain maybe how life works, right? And if you find it helpful, it's great. If you don't find it helpful, it doesn't matter. You'll find something else that's helpful, because that's how that's what we're looking for, and so that's what we find. And so to answer your question, yes, definitely comfortable questioning, have questioned, and even though I still see what the principles are pointing to as true for me, I'm not saying it has to be the answer for everyone. That's where I'm at. Yeah, I'm happy to explore.
Yes, I love that. That is such a great metaphor about the bathroom. Yeah, it exists. And it's so true. The path that someone's going to take could be completely different. Um, yeah, to getting there. That's so great. Wow.
It's just a lot of humility, really. More listening too, because I don't know. So, and I know that I don't know for someone else. I really feel that if I don't know for me, at some point I will, because that's how it's been working. But I certainly don't know for someone else. And they only know. So much more humble than I used to, especially at the beginning. Oh my God, with the principles, if you could only see this,
Yes.
your life would be transformed. And now it's more like, your life can be transformed. Let's see how to go about it, And it's the same for me. Okay, I'm not seeing it right now. Well, let's look below the surface and see what else is there. It's actually makes it much more interesting than to think
Good point. Yes. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah. It's so much more fun to explore than to think you have the answers.
Right.
Yeah, I agree. Absolutely. Um, so I'm just looking at my little list of questions. Is there anything else that you see now that you haven't shared yet, that you didn't see before this experience?
Anything that I have seen? Well, I think if it had to be something, it would have to be presence. And it's a big word. So what do I mean by that? It's really being aware of the experience that I'm having without a ton of thinking about it. Just really, this is new for me, this ability to want to stay with what I'm feeling. So especially when it's uncomfortable. And again, to stay without clinging to it, right? It's just to be with the experience as it moves through me. So there's a deeper awareness. Maybe it's because this temporariness of things was the number one factor that helped me, but I've seen it deeper. It's like everything is so fluid. There's I'm not so afraid anymore to stay present with it. And being present for me means just feeling what I feel without having an opinion or needing to change it, because it changes by itself. But it was a nice idea, and now it's become really a cool exploration, and I have little glimpses of being experiential now. And really, oh, I'm feeling terrible right now, and it's not a problem, and it's going to pass, and be with it as it passes. It's really weird in a way to talk about that. It's hard to describe, but to really be in the experience. And I think that's allowed me also to really be more present with others. It's a work in progress, because it's easier for me to be present to myself than it is to be present to others. But so I guess that's a good start anyway. Just start right here and then moving out. But yeah, if I had to say something, it would be that I find that topic fascinating. And also, that's going to sound weird, but even when I'm not present, there's still some part of me that is. And it's like what we talked about before with the puzzle piece, or you waking up at night. It's like knowing at a deep level that there's a part of me that still registers everything, and that still moves along. It keeps living me. It keeps moving me. So that's new. That's another thing that's new. It's a pretty big deal, actually.
I was just gonna say.
And we'll see. It's evolving. We'll see what it brings, but definitely something there. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow, this has been such a great conversation, Maryse. I've loved it so much. And I feel like I'm floating. I've gotten so much out of it.
Oh, thank you. Well, that's the gift, right? At the end of and it's funny because I have a friend who's who sees that much more clearly than I do, that when we go through challenges, or we go back into the pit, it's actually not bad news. It's really another opportunity to see more of what we want to see, really. And I've started to not look at it that way, but to experience it more that way. It's getting more clear for me that way. So that the challenges and the pit, the darkness of the pit, basically doesn't look so scary, because I used the metaphor of the diamond recently. It's like we're born, and we've got this diamond, right? It's life, and it's wonderful, and we're children, and we play with it and everything. And then it's like counter. We go backwards, right? So we have this diamond from birth, and then it goes back into the ground, right? We slowly put it back into the ground, and then we have to go and find it. But it seems to me that every challenge, everything that is put in our way, is an opportunity for us to unearth that diamond, or to polish it, or to and just see another facet. Like once it's there, we just scratch there and say, oh, and it shines slightly differently, and with a different color or a different shade, and it's really a beautiful process when we look at it that way, I suppose. And so I'm getting, it's something I'm open to look at, which I wasn't ready to do when I was feeling very bad. But now I'm like, what if every challenge, every darkness, every cloud, every storm we go through is just another opportunity for us to see another facet of the diamond? What if?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the way I see it is I sort of see it as wisdom everywhere. So what if there's wisdom even in the experiences we don't enjoy? And what if there's wisdom in our body even when it's making us uncomfortable? That kind of thing. Yeah.
That kind of thing. I agree.
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, this has been so lovely, Maryse. Why don't you let our listeners know where they can find out more about you and your work?
Oh, yes, that's a good point. Well, I have a website. I have a website, I suppose. And it's flower flowpower.com, but FLOW and then -ER for flow,
Okay. Yeah.
because I love being in the flow. So flowerpower.com, and or via email again with flow, powerflow28@gmail.com. I'm there. And otherwise I'm on Facebook too, so they can, reach me there. And that's that really.
Yeah. And you have a lovely group with James Abbott, the Built-in Brilliance Facebook group.
Yes, I have a Facebook group there, and we have group calls with James. I met James through a little peace of mind. He
Mm.
trained as a coach, I trained as a coach, and now we host group calls together, which are really, we don't teach at all. There's just a forum for a joint exploration. It's lovely. And so we do that together. And yeah, it's been fun.
Mm.
Or shall I say, it's fun again.
Right. Yes. Yeah. Was it not fun while you were going through this?
No, when I really took a pause, I needed to pause. We did some group calls, but in terms of coaching, I stopped everything.
Wow.
It was my my belief, well, my grounding, I suppose, for lack of a better word, was shaken that badly.
Yeah.
I thought I have no business being with anybody right now. And now that's changed, because I'm like, it would be nice to explore from this new space I'm in with someone again. So, I'm getting back to that. But yeah, no, the fun, it was no fun.
No. Well, I'm glad you're back to it. That's awesome.
Yeah, me too. It's nice. And again, like all of us, I have my moments, but it's not a problem. Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
exactly. It's life.
Yeah. It's life. Yeah, it's life.
Yes.
All of it. Yeah.
All of it. Yeah. Everything. Well, thank you again, Maryse. This has been awesome.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. It was great. Thank you.
All right. Take care. Bye-bye.
You too. Bye bye.